Good morning, everybody. 14 Guitars here. I am on my way to Wambaw on the YZ250X. I think it's my 7th ride on this beast, and boy, she's a lot of fun. Had a great ride last time, and finally turned the throttle a good bit on the last part of my last ride, and that video's up. It was on July 30th, and I think I titled it June 30th. I don't know how I got June in my head, but anyway, it's morning. It's only 7 o'clock in the morning here in Charleston, South Carolina. I wanted to be to the woods early before work, get a ride in before it got too hot, and because it's summertime here, of course, and today is the 4th of August, I believe, Monday, and it turns out it's only 76 degrees, so it got cool overnight with some rain, and really yesterday was kind of cool too. So I think it's going to be a nice ride. I think the jetting will be a little better for this weather. My jetting's just a bit rich right now. I'm still working on dialing that in. I think I've got an N3 EW needle in there on the 3rd clip, and I think this time of year the 2nd clip is just right, and then in winter the 3rd clip would be just right. I'm running 175 main and 45 pilot and a 40 power jet per Klinger's thread. Anyway, and Klinger, by the way, is the man who that's his thumpertalk.com username, and eventually he went on to become the man behind Hitless, HITL Hitless LES Hitless, no hit, meaning no hit. It's a power valve and power valve governor system that tames the hit on YZ250s and really stretches out that power in a very linear way that people really love, without giving up that screaming top end that we also love so much. So anyway, I followed his jetting advice, and he's still on Thumper Talk for those who want to talk jetting. He's very good about answering those kind of questions. And there's also a ton of, pre-existing threads that he's participated in that tell you all about it. Just look up Klinger 40 Power Jet on thumpertalk.com. We're going to do something a little different today. I'm going to ride a variety of loops. I normally ride either the full north loop or full south loop. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ride the short north, then the short south, then the medium north, then the medium south. I've got tons of videos of full north and full south, but this will give you an idea of essentially what we've got at Wambaw is two 19-ish, basically two 20-mile loops. They're like 18 and 19 loops of miles apiece. The north loop and the south loop. Each one of those has paths where you can return back to the parking lot by essentially cutting to the return. You're on the outgoing part of the trail, and then there's a cut over to the incoming part of the trail in different places. So there's really 3 loops in each main loop that if you've got to end your ride early, if you've got something wrong with the bike, if it's just too hot and you're just a little too tired, conditions aren't what you expected, for whatever reason, you can ride a shorter loop. And so I'm going to ride all 4 of those loops today, I believe. And that should be a little over an hour, I would think. And that way you'll get a chance to see where you turn around to come back. And I'll stop at the turnaround points and point them out on my little map that sits up on my videos, and show you what to look for as far as signs and guidance to get you turned around on the short loop and medium loops on both the north and south. So that should be a lot of fun. I hope you all have been able to get out and ride this weekend. I know a lot of folks ride on the weekends. I personally ride during the week usually. And I hope school's not coming too fast for those of you still in school. You got to go back to school, do your best, and ride on the weekend if you can. All right, we'll get back to you when we're on the trail, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. All right, folks, 14 Guitars here at Wambaw. And what we're going to do today is we're going to ride the north and south short and intermediate loops. The north loop is about 19 miles, but it's actually 3 loops because you can come back here on the short loop. And you can come back here on the intermediate loop. So you come out and you cut back. Each time you're cutting back to the return trail, the same trail that you ride if you ride the full loop. I've got a million videos of the full loop on this, so I thought I'd do something a little different. Same thing with the south loop. So the south loop is about approximately 20 miles. That's the full loop, but you can come out and you can come back here and you can come back here. So there's a couple of places you can come back. Now, one thing about the south loop that's a little different is there's more of these crossroads here. So you got more opportunities. You could return right here. You can return right here. You can return right here. Here. There's the normal intermediate right here. So there's quite a few places where you can really make a smaller loop back because of all the crossroads. So short, intermediate, short, intermediate. We'll do that. Beyond the intermediate on the North Trail, you see there's no real roads that cut back. I guess you could cut back right here, but that is not a very well-defined road in my experience. And you're not really supposed to ride these roads anyway unless you've got a street legal bike. So I just thought you'd like to see that you can get back to the trailhead fairly easily. And what we'll do is we'll put the mileages on each one of these. And so we're going to do short, short, intermediate, intermediate, and that ought to do it. So, all right, folks, let's get the bike warmed up a little bit and we'll hit the trails. 14 Guitars here. Here we are at the Wambaw Cycle Trail. It is August 4th, 2025. We are gonna, I'll check that out. I can see the screen. Yeah, I've never looked at it before while I was running. We're gonna ride the north and south trails today. I'm gonna start with north short, south short, north intermediate, south intermediate. It should be about the same distance I normally ride, you know, put in about an hour. I'm not quite sure how long those are, so I kind of wanted to do this for a long time to see how many miles of trail that is. Now somehow it looks like okay, here we go. All right, so hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, I don't usually ride the north or south shorter intermediate trails. Every once in a while I've come back on the north short. Like doing just a little ride to warm up on the north and then hitting the south trail after riding the short north as a warm up. But I thought it'd be fun, since I always ride the full trail, for everybody to see these two trails. I'll stop at each entryway back into the trail and show you where it is on my little map that I've got up on my screen. And we'll just see how it goes. I'm on the YZ250X. I've rejetted it. I've got an N3 EW on the third clip, which might be a little rich needle, a 45 Pilot, a 175 main, and a 40 Power Jet per clinger on bumper talk. This ride is a fun ride, and really to let you all get a chance to see short and medium trails, intermediate trails. This dirt is fantastic. It's we've been getting a little rain every night, and boy, I gotta say, this dirt is spectacular, y'all. I'm hoping the rain will hold off just for this ride, because I'm not bringing any tear off with me, and I enjoy having good vision through the the goggles, but I really only have a pair of goggles with roll-off on it right now in my truck, and I'd rather not wear those if I don't have to. They're decent vision, right, but they're not nearly as good as just seeing the huge wide open goggles lenses. I'm running 100% brand goggles. Take a look at my description if you want to see what suspension I'm running. It's eating up these whoops pretty good. Maybe just a hair soft. You know, I've got a little bit more in enduro mode here, but pretty good everywhere. And good enough. Firm enough on these whoops. Give me a pretty good level of comfort. And of course today, it's early morning here. It's like 7:45 or something. And it's we're still in the 70s as far as temperature goes. So it's probably 80% humidity. 76 degrees, something like that. So my rich jetting is not quite so rich. Give me a little bit more power, a little nicer feel. I'm running 9 psi in the back, 11 psi in the front on these stock MX33 tires that the 2025 YZ250 come with. That little lower pressure in the back lifts that rear tire. Not spin quite as bad because I'm used to these. I guess it's an M33. I'm used to the MX33 Dunlop, not these Bridgestones. The MX14 Dunlop is a scoop tire, not a paddle tire, but the knobbies are arranged in the scoop pattern, and it really digs in the sand. Something I learned last night. Maybe I relearned it, but bell peppers are the same species of pepper. In other words, you can breed them directly. They're just a different, like a different haired child, as jalapenos, poblanos, anchos. Now, it's not the same as habanero. That's another group, the ghost pepper group. Man, think about that. We've spread out all the heat. Of the bell peppers. Same exact pepper. So just by selectively breeding the offspring, you know, you get a cooler pepper off one plant, you find another plant, same species. It's like when you got human beings that are super nice, and you got human beings that are super mean. Often they've got parents who are nice and mean, and a chunk of that is genetics. Of course, nurture, right? Nature and nurture. Nature is genetics. Nurture is how someone's raised. Nurture has a lot to do with it, but those circuits, those anger circuits, definitely contain some of the genetics for people who are constantly angry. And those nice circuits are contained. Now, the beauty of human beings is we can choose how we wish to act. And over time, through practice, being nice, if you're mean, can become a habit. One of the nice things about that is you generally get a positive feedback loop. If you're a nice person, people are generally nice to you. Your brain starts to feed on that dopamine hit you get for when people are nice to you, or whatever other hormones, pleasure hormones you get from that. And through practice and positive feedback to your brain, you can become a nice person. And maybe that's the best of all worlds, right? To be a nice person capable of extreme anger, and yet not angry, but capable. It's there if you ever need it. I think it's a nice combination. I would say I'm a super nice guy, and I'm capable of extreme response. No, I usually don't get angry. I usually get really somber and calm in a situation like that, instead of wild or unpredictable. Because I was in the woods here one time, and a young woman come running up to me. I passed a guy at the trailhead in a car, sitting with the car door open. So I thought his car was broken. I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Are you okay?" He just kind of screamed it back at me. About a 50-year-old big dude. And I was like, "I'm good. All right." About 100 yards up the trail, this little girl was running out of the woods, pouring sweat, soaking wet from, running through the woods and running against plants, a little damp on. And she stopped, got right in front of my dirt bike. And at first I thought maybe this is some kind of scheme where these two are paired up. She's gonna try to rob me. But the fear in her eyes, I thought she must be the greatest actress of all time, or she's really afraid. And I said, "Is he chasing you?" She shook her head. She was on the phone with 911. And so they gave me the phone. She gave me the phone. I told her, get up about 100 yards and get off the trail and find a log to sit down on and relax. And I went back to this guy, and we got him out of his car. I let him know I was, armed and trained in that area. I also, of course, told him that while that was true, he was free to go. I wasn't holding him or anything like that. I was just letting him know, because he walked toward me, big old guy, and I told him, "Hey man, stay at your car, and I just want to see what's going on." And he walked toward me like he was kind of a crazy guy. And I thought, boy, I don't know if this guy's on something or what. So I just let him know, "Hey man, I'm not the easy mark, at least." And so he actually lifted up a shirt for me and twirled around, showed me he wasn't armed, and I got on the phone I stayed on the phone with 911, and we got a bunch of sheriffs and helicopters out here. It was crazy. Local police came, held me at gunpoint from a distance until they made sure I wasn't still armed. I'd taken my shirt off. All I had on were my motocross pants and my arms up, but they weren't taking any chances. Once they saw that I wasn't armed and I told them where my weapon was, they took care of him. And I got back on my, and once I knew she was safe, one of the sheriffs took her. I got back to the bike and took off. I don't think the 911 knew my name, of course. They asked for your name, but I was never contacted. So I don't know what happened, But I just remember being almost not an out-of-body experience, but really no urgency, no anxiety. I guess no anxiety. All right, that's enough yapping. Here we are. So this, we've gone, I don't know how many miles, right? So 3 miles to the trailhead. Now 8 miles to the trailhead on that sign is not true. There's no way there's only 8 miles to get back to the parking lot. But what that might mean is 8 miles if you take the intermediate loop. So let's go back on the short loop. Now notice it says trail merges ahead. That's because both the intermediate and the long share the return pass. All we're doing is we're cutting back to the return. We're taking a shortcut back to the return trail. So watch for traffic if you're on the intermediate or long crossing these paths here. And vice versa. If you're taking the short or intermediate, keep an eye out for oncoming traffic. It's a fairly fast, both sections where you come back into the trail, it's probably a moderately fast section of the trail. Not real fast, but moderate. So you might have some traffic coming on. You got to watch out for it. So really, this makes a great warm-up loop, right? Because it's not too long. It's not too difficult. So we got about 2.5 miles to go now, because I think it's about 19 total, and that mile marker said 16.5. So if you took the full trail by here, you'd be at about 16.5, 17 miles, and have 2 miles to go. This is a great section. I was a little low geared there. We're approaching the road that I showed in my last short video. I'll show you where this road goes. So let's say it's your first time, you've never been here, and you want to take the short route back. Here you go. So far, it's very clear. You got a very clear sign, right, to make a right. If you make a left, you got an 8-mile trail. Or right, you got 3-mile trail back. So here's where people can get confused. There's a stop sign and there's a road here, but look at the tracks. Just go straight. All right, straight on. And go up here and around this corner. You'll see the dirt bike tracks making this corner right here. See that? Here's some... A few hundred yards up here, back into the woods. All right, 2 miles to go from here. This is one of the best parts of the track. It's really fun. It's dark, tacky dirt, sandy loam, I guess you'd call it. It's got sand, but it's got lots of organic products mixed in with it. It's not so sandy as everywhere else. A little bit more dirt, a little bit more like Enery in its dirt section. Super fun, windy trail. Pretty much every corner has a nice little berm. If you come in a little hot, you can plant the bike right there on the berm, right here on the berm, and just hit that berm and rail it a little bit. You little whoop-de-doos. Even here's got a berm. You get a little out of shape. Fun little section here. Whoop-de-doos around the corner, but they're fairly rolly, wide turns, not too sharp. One sharp turn coming up, not yet, not this one. Coming up here, one little sharp turn right here. And that's about the sharpest turn in that little section. And we're back to these smooth, rolly turns. My short video from, I just released it, July 30th, has this section a lot faster, riding a lot faster. If I ride that fast, I'm not going to be able to talk. So, all right, after those markers, you got 2 left turns here, and a big right coming up, big 180. It's stretched out though, so kind of, there's the 90 and another 95 or so. All right, we're almost home free now. Most of this is basically similar to this. There's one section that's a bit windy and a climbing turn where you got to just keep an eye out because the trees are pretty close everywhere. But most of this, now these whoop-de-doos are kind of neat. That's not what I'm talking about when I say windy. We're coming up on this hill. Big turn, big nice 90-degree turn. All right, here's the little windy section. Thread the needle a little bit here. I'm still in 4th. Up the hill. And a little bit of a level left up here. And then another left. Right. Won't be long, we'll be hitting the power lines. And then we're basically at the back. Alright, power line. And we're almost back. One little straight section here. Alright, that's it, gate to gate. The North Short Loop. Since I'm going to do a lot of talking on the next one, I'm going to go take a little rest and drink some water and get right back at it. Early morning ride takes me a while, a little longer to warm up at 63 than it used to. But mainly I want to get a little water in me. Running good, man. Woo! Tell you what, let's walk over and take a quick look at what we just did and what we're going to do next. Yeah, quite a few whoops out here. I would love to see a groom with a Sweeco. Sweeco's like a little mini tractor, like a mini bulldozer. They can come and knock all that down. So what we did is we hit the north, hit those long whoops back in the woods, windy, 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 popped out here, joined the trail coming back, and back. There's our big 90-degree turn. I mean 180-degree turn that we talked about. So that's it. We are here. Interesting. All right, folks, we'll be back in just a minute and we'll do the south. The south starts on the outside loop here. So if your kid calls you and he says he's right here, he's just left, or if he's left, you can go out here. If he's on his way back, he says, I'm almost back, but I can't see you. This is where he's going to be, right? He's going to come back. Even if he takes the short loop, he's going to come back. I actually was with a kid the other day that lost his chain right about here, and his dad was coming to get him, but his dad was out here on this trail. So He could see him on his GPS, but he didn't know where he was. So that's all that was. The kid had taken the short loop and was on his way back, lost his chain. Dad came to get him and should have come this way. Next time he'll know. All right, folks, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. All right, folks, here we are. Let's go hit the North Intermediate Trail. And then we'll hit the South. I might ride both of these kind of slow and just ride them all in one run, which is about 20 miles, about the length of riding one of these full loops. I've ridden so far a little over like 12 miles or something, not that far. But it's a bit of a little more ride than I've done lately. And beautiful weather to do it in. It's nice and cool, probably 78 degrees. Oh, what do we got to remember to do? Start the watch. Resume. All right. North Intermediate. The cool thing about the all three loops is some of the best sections of the North are in those all three loops. In the South, you miss, on the first loop back, you miss something like you call the Enchanted Forest or the Hobbit Forest. It's a bunch, kind of a coastal forest with a bunch of stunted oak trees. And you're winding in and out of these oak trees. And it's kind of cool. Kind of deep sand through the oaks. And, you don't get to see that with the short loop on the South. The North here, you get that little road section and that great little blast through the dark earth wood section. Winding, sticky dirt, super fun. That front end does seem just a little bit loose. Probably just this man. Very flickable bike. Just goes where you face her. Easy to lift the front end, set it down on top of the next what we do. Whoopie-doos, man. Suspension's great. Bravo, Yamaha, man. You guys nailed it. It's just so good. I love when something works well. Being an engineer, right? I'm a mechanical engineer. I want things to work well. The fact that they can, and on some bikes they don't, That's just lazy engineering. There's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for staying with it once you realize it. You don't fix it. How long did we have junky suspension on KTMs, those WPs, those early WPs? People hated them. Changing fork heads and everything. You know, people couldn't stand it. And these are really good ones now. And I know there's some builders that say, oh, you can build those early ones fantastic. Yeah, but a lot of the time they were just awful factory suspension. Yamaha had great suspension for 20-something years. Now, admittedly, they found something that worked in 06. They really haven't changed it, but you know, more power to them. That comfortable, you know, hit the whoops that fast since I came off the back of the bike with a whiskey throttle about 4 years ago. Just haven't been that comfortable. That felt awesome. Key there was just to let the bike suspension do the work, keep my legs pretty neutral. I wasn't trying to do anything or contribute much to the suspension. I was letting the bike suspension just run with it. Basically just try to stay neutral on the bike with my legs. I think if we compare my heart rate to what it normally is going through there to this time, it might be a little lower because I don't think I was trying as hard. That might be the only section I'm going to go fast today. Because we got 20 miles to go. We've already done 12. That was fun. That was really fun. You can't be talking up the suspension if you're not going to put it to the test, right? I don't know, I might take a little rest after this one, between this one and the South Intermediate. So I can ring the bike out on both of them. Yeah, if you don't get that clutch in, that front end is nice and gentle, doesn't it? For me. I might have it just a hair stiff, I guess. I think I've got that right. All right, we're quickly approaching the short loop return. We're within, I think, a half a mile or so. Surface layer that's there before you get to the moisture part, like little ball bearings on the surface. But thankfully, you go down an inch and you hit pay dirt down there with a little moisture in it. Return for the short. Let's get the medium, the intermediate. It says I got 8 miles to go. I think it's, I guess. That must mean it cuts back pretty soon. Bike's going a little faster. I think this is a really short in and out. Cross the power lines and then cross right back here, up here. We get really close to the main road out here too. Look at your map, and I think you'll see. Real close. Not breathing through our nose anymore. Concentrate. I think we're coming up on the intermediate return now, but I'm not sure. Maybe not quite yet. crossing of the power lines. Cross, we cross right back. Right back. Tunnel, the Whoop Tunnel. We go through a beautiful little section of woods and then down a long hill through like a long straight section with a canopy of trees over you. And it's really fun. There's a few whoop-de-doos on it, but it's a fun little trail. You can go a little faster, comfortably. Left turn here will take you straight to a road. If you had an emergency, there's a road right there. And I don't know, maybe a right turn would take you back to the trail. You have to look at your map. Remember, you need a good reason to be on that trail, and it's not just because I'm tired. You might get a ticket if you don't have a street legal bike. I'm calling that a trail, I mean a road. Except we're designated. Service roads are off limits. Unless you've got a licensed motor vehicle. Right? I think it's here. It's the return. Yeah. If you cut straight there, you're going to miss it. Follow the trail to the right, and there you go. All right. 5 miles back. So. Richen my needle just a hair. I'm only running a 45 Pilot. Look at this. Not a lot of people take this trail, evidently. It's got like one or two tracks on it. Oh, here we are. We're merging right here. We just merged where the long section comes back as well. And I'll let you know when we hit the short section where it merges again. It'll be coming in from our right. I believe this is one of the lowest areas on this trail, elevation-wise. So we didn't get to do our fun little woods or the Whoops Tunnel. That's only on the long loop. It's worth the ride, y'all. You just got to take it real easy till you get there. It's a really fun section. Alright, a little more sandy here. This is that road I said if you made a right, or a left, you go to the road, and if you made a right, you come back to the trail on that same road. orange. Coming, baby. About 3.5 miles to go. Where I said was the lowest section back there, that's 14 miles in if you're on the long trail. And I guess 11 on the short, I don't know. Fun little bobsled run right here. Sometimes there'll be water coming over this thing up here, but it has to be a pretty good range. Obviously none right now. It's never very deep. Enough to get your gear wet, yeah, sometimes. Section if you're coming along the intermediate to have a guy from the short come in on you. So if you're coming on the short trail, really be careful when you're entering the return trail. Remember, the guys riding the long trails, they're often riding for time, right? Trying to break that 40-minute mark, that magical. Well, you need to keep an eye on it for it. You're not usually expecting someone to be there. I've never, since 2013, ever run into anybody entering the trail for the intermediate or the short. So it would be quite a surprise, and I might drop my guard and not be watching for him, especially if I was having such a spectacularly fast run or something. All right, so here's that fun little sandy section you go into right after you hit the return trail on the short. And we're coming up on that road that for beginners can be really confusing here at Wambaw, trying to figure out which way the trail goes. So you watch it again here. The nice thing about taking the loop twice is you get to see this section twice. Alright, here's the road. Watch the car. Take this turn. Into the woods. It's a great section here. This dark dirt is so nice. I wiped the lens because I noticed my goggles are getting a little rainy. Intermediate North. Woo! I think we're gonna call it. It's starting to rain. I got a good ride. We'll do the Intermediate South soon. Nobody likes rain on the camera. That was fun. Great fun. All right, folks. Woo! Very nice. I did about 20 warm-up laps here on the warm-up loops before I started these rides today, just to ride the bike a little bit with this new jetting. Great fun. Hey, great to see you. If you like my videos, thumbs up, please. And if you would, subscribe if you want to see more when I do them. I very much appreciate y'all doing this. I hope you can get out here and ride. Right now, Wambaw is spectacular. The trails are still open. Forgive my spitting. I wear a retainer. Take care of my teeth. Love you guys. Thank you much. We'll see you next time. Appreciate it. Bye now. Click.